Good morning. This is virtual PBX admin training. The training will last about 30 to 45 minutes, mostly depending on me and or some load time issues that may come up. Feel free to make use of YouTube's chat feature to ask questions. In the show notes, you're going to see several links, the most important of which is probably the support link. I'm going to be referring to that often to basically do searches of particular features as I go over them. Let's go ahead and get started. Here's our Dash login page, which is at dash.virtualpbx.com. We need three pieces of information for you to get logged in. The first is your username. That's your email address, and it should be in all lowercase letters. Then we need your password, which is case sensitive. And then lastly, we need your account name, which is not case sensitive. Now, if you can't log in, just above the sign-in bar is forgot your info link. You can click on that. It'll flip it around. We still need that email address. And then we need one of the two following pieces of information. Right? We need either your account name or your phone number on the account. Click on reset password. That's going to send you an email. In the body of the email will be a link that you can click on. It logs you in temporarily, so you can change your password. It will log you back out, so you would be back on this page. Type in that password. Click on Remember Me. Also, as a system admin, I recommend bookmarking this page. We'll go ahead and get signed in here. And I'll be taken here to my dashboard page once it loads up. And we're almost done here. There we go. So up at the top, that's my name. And I can click on that. It's going to be a big, huge pop-up. This is where I get to my user account page where I could also click my password after I've logged in. Right, let's say I didn't like that initial password I chose. Now, as a system admin over on the left, I can click on the account level settings. So you can change the time zone and language for the entire account. And the language is just the display language of the web pages. As a system admin, you can also click on add-ons over here on the left. That means this lets you add additional features to your Dash account. So you can see here, I have virtual text forward enabled. You can also add things like advanced reporting, dynamic caller ID, and multiple auto attendants. These will have an additional feature or additional cost to your plan. There'll be a pop-up letting you know what that cost is on a monthly basis. You have to confirm that to enable the feature. Next up, we have the billing portal, and then here is a link to the actual billing portal itself. This is what you would use to access your previous invoices or to change your payment method. And then lastly, any system admin can click on cancel account here on the left, and then there'll be a red cancel button over on the far right. There we go. You would click on that, fill out the form, and then you can cancel the account. The account will close at the end of the current billing cycle. And then when you're done, click on close to the top right. To the right of my name, I have D&D toggle. That's a do not disturb toggle. Right, so right now mine is active because it's white. Means calls to my user are going right to voicemail. I can click on it to accept calls. It's only for my user. To the right of that, we have a little phone icon. This opens up a new tab, takes you to webphone.virtualpbx.net. If you have a web phone device on your user, you can log into that page using your Dash login information. And you can then use Chrome or Firefox on your computer to make and receive calls. This does count as a VoIP phone, so please be aware of that. And it does need to be added to your user beforehand. Little chat bubbles here icon, that opens a new tab, takes you to virtualtext.app. That web page has its own login information, but that's how you make use of the business SMS or virtual text feature. The question mark icon, this opens up a chat window at the bottom right of your browser. This will let you speak to our staff members to help you with any particular feature you're working with. The three horizontal line icon or hamburger icon, This is the menu icon. This gets you to other dash features, which we'll be covering at the very end of the training. And then the little arrow here to the right is the logout button. We're going to skip down here into the middle. Total users, these are users on my account, people who make and receive calls. Typically speaking, the more users you add to your plan, the higher your bill is going to be. Then I have total devices and a breakdown of the kinds of devices. The main ones to be worried about are the VoIP devices, right? So that's the soft phone, web phone, and SIP phone. As those can increase your bill depending on your plan. Some plans include a VoIP phone per user, but that second one is going to have an increased fee. Total numbers, that means how many phone numbers I have on the account. Our accounts, you get one main local number as part of your monthly plan price. Some of our plans, like the Pro plan and above, also include a local number per user. Toll-free numbers are $4.99 per month. Conference bridges, this is just how many users I've enabled the conference feature on, so they can host or moderate a conference. To the top right, my main number block, these 3 numbers, they're all going to the same part of my system. They're all going to play the same main greeting. Conference number, you can have multiple conference room numbers if you want. They all go to the same set of conference rooms. This is the number everyone dials to join your conference. That includes you and your staff. The fax box number, this is your inbound fax number. You can only have the one main fax box number. This also lets you edit the fax box to allow for outbound faxing, which we'll be getting to later. The company directory, there's 2 links here. The first is CSV, just downloads a CSV file so you can open it with your favorite spreadsheet program. It's going to list all your staff members on the account, their names, their email addresses, their extension numbers, their devices. The soft phone download link, that is for use with the VirtualPBX desktop soft phone application. So you would download this file, upload it to your VirtualPBX soft phone on a Mac or Windows PC. In your contact list in the soft phone, you'll see the other staff members and their status as it relates to their VirtualPBX soft phones. Right? So you can see if someone's on a call on their soft phone or not. VirtualPBX Store, this opens up a new tab, takes you to store.virtualpbx.com. This is where you would go to order things like a SIP phone, right? So desktop-oriented VoIP phone. The account realm, every account has its own account realm. This is used in a couple things. The first is it's one of the 3 pieces of information used to program or provision a third-party soft phone. It's also necessary for outbound faxing since that's via email, which again, we'll get into later. All right, skipping back up to the blue bar, we have the caller ID button here. When you click on that, opens up a box. This pull down here to the right lets you select one of your main numbers. That number becomes your default number. For instance, for your VoIP phones, when they make an outbound call, this is the phone number that will be displayed as the outbound caller ID. Next up is hold music. You can upload your own media files to your account. The system will play back .wav or .mp3 files up to 1 megabyte in size. Just click on upload and then click on browse to find the file on your computer. Click the up arrow icon to upload it. Now, this hold music plays after the call has come into your system. Reach one of your staff members, they've picked up their VoIP phone, right, had their greeting, and then press hold on their VoIP phone. Once they press hold, that's when this media file plays. Hours is part of main number, which we don't really want to get into setup until we've done some other things. Namely, over here on the left, we'll click on users. This is our user page. You see all the users on the account here. The people with the blue suit icon are your system admins. They can make all the changes we're talking about. Dante, who's a gray person icon, he's a standard user, very limited access. Up here at the top is where you would click add user. And you would fill out the form. The main thing to know is the email address used for login needs to be unique for each user. This is how the system communicates with your staff, right? Password resets, voicemail notifications, things of that nature. The system by default will automatically create a voicemail box for each user you add. This is recommended, just makes one less step for you later on. Here's your option to include a user in the user directory. You can always change this later. If you want those emails to be sent to a different email address than the one they used to log in with, you can click this box here, and then enter that other email address in the box provided. This is also something you can change at any time. And then lastly, send credentials to the user, optional to check that or not. And then click on create user if you're only creating one person, create user and add another if you're adding multiple. Once a user is created, you can click on their name and you can change their name if you need to. Here's where you would change their credentials, right? Their email address or their password. This is what you would use to change the voicemail box PIN number. Right, here's the option to send emails to an alternate address. And then here is the option to include or not include in the user directory. Over here on the right, the little person icon, this pull down lets you change a user into an admin or an admin to a user. Little clock icon, this pull down lets you change the time zone for the user, right? So their voicemail timestamps are in the proper time zone for them. The flag icon, this pull down lets you change the display language for the user. You have English, French, German, or Russian. Ringing timeout, default is 20 seconds, which is plenty of time for a landline or a VoIP phone. If you have a person or staff member who's only using a cell phone, you're going to probably want to increase that to 30 seconds. The extension box, you can add additional extension numbers to a user by just clicking on add extension here, enter that new extension number, and then save changes. Phone numbers, users can have their own phone numbers. The main thing to know about this is this phone number is available 24/7, right? There is no open or closed hours for it. For adding a phone number, please use the show notes and do a search for adding a phone number or adding DID. Next up, we have the device box for users. This is where you would want to add devices to a user, which is what we recommend doing it directly here. The main one I want to go over here is the VirtualPBX soft phone. So first, down here, you would click on New Device, and you would select Soft Phone. There's a warning message here. Please read it at least once. Click on Close. You're going to get a big box popping up here very shortly. There we go. Now, it defaults to a third-party soft phone, meaning you're using somebody else's application. That's fine if you want to do so. We just give it a name, copy this information. That's the information you would need to program that third-party soft phone, right? This would be the account realm. Now, if you want to use the VirtualPBX soft phone, then down here below where it says View Configuration Guide, it says Use Third-Party Application. This is a toggle that you can click on. So now it says Use VirtualPBX Application. You still need a name. And then you would click on Create Device, and then Save Changes. Once you click on Save Changes, Dante here would get an email saying his VirtualPBX soft phone is ready. In the body of the email would be his login information for that application, as well as download links. On the user directly is the only place you can add the VirtualPBX soft phone. For all the other devices, you're going to want to use that support page link, or there's also a link for the auto provisioning document, which is for the SIP phones that support auto provisioning on the system. And we got user features. First one I want to dig into here is the voicemail box one. So this is the standard setup for a voicemail box on the system. Voicemail boxes can hold up to 100 messages. After that, they are full and cannot hold any more. By default, the system will automatically email you, the contact information, but also an MP3 attachment in that email. So you can just double click on it, listen to it. This doesn't delete the voicemail from your voicemail box. As a system admin, you can choose this option here, the top one. This will delete the voicemail from the system after we send out that notification email. The downside of that is it limits how your staff can listen or check their voicemails, right? If you leave this unchecked, they can call into the system and listen to the voicemail. They can also check their voicemails via the user portal. The other thing I wanted to cover is call forward, or follow me calling, sorry. Now, this is for users with multiple devices. So this user here has 3 devices. Right now, when calls come to this user, all three of his devices ring at once. Now, he may not want that, so he would say, hey, system admin, I don't want all these devices to ring at the same time. You would come here to follow me and click on it. First up, you click to enable it. Then you have to say, okay, what devices do you want to make use of? You would uncheck the devices you want to make that he wants to use. You can click it, click and drag to give those devices a ring time. You can click distribute so that it always rings in this order, right? So soft test versus web. There's a box here. You can adjust the total ring time. By default, it's going to be 2 minutes. Right? I can say that's probably too long, so we can change that down to 60. And then I would click redistribute. So now it's 30 seconds between the two. I can click and drag to change the order and then click distribute. So now it goes to the web phone first and then the soft phone out. All right, so a brief rundown on the other features. Caller ID number. This is for users that have their own phone number. When you enable this, the phone number that you have on the user, that becomes your outbound caller ID from their VoIP phones instead of the main number that you selected under the dashboard. Fax box. This allows you to create a fax box specifically for this user, i.e. they have their own fax box. You either can use a phone number or add an extension number. The recommendation is use a phone number. Conference privilege, once this is enabled, this user can host or moderate a conference, and they'll have access to their conference tab under their user portal. Call forwarding, this allows you to set up call forwarding on the user. This is really useful for VoIP phone users as there is the failover mode. So if their VoIP phones become unregistered, you can have it set up to automatically forward calls to their cell phone, for example. Now this user doesn't need it because I can tell he has a soft phone already on his normal device list. Call recording, this allows you to record inbound and outbound calls. Music on hold, this allows me to upload a specific hold music file for this user. Right, so like if this is one of my salespeople, I could have him have hold music just about like specials and promotions that are being run. Do not disturb, I would, as an admin, enable this for, say, a staff member who had to leave because of some sort of emergency. Hot desking is a VoIP phone feature. It's designed for a shared office environment or hybrid scheduling where people may not have an assigned desk they sit at all the time. This then allows them to log into the VoIP phone that they are sitting at, so that calls are then routed to them at that phone. And in the show notes, please use the support link for more information on these and how to set them up. Next up, we'll go to groups. Groups are departments, also referred to as ring groups or hunt groups. Up here at the top, you click on Add Group. Give it a name, give it an extension number, and click and drag your staff members that you want to be in the group. Click on Create Group. Once a group is created, you can click on the name. The main thing to know here is the group call attempts, This is how many times the system will offer the inbound call to your group members. There's little arrows here to the right that you can adjust it. You can click Save Changes or Delete if you don't need the group anymore. Next up, we have the members box. This shows how your staff members are being offered calls. This is blast ringing or ring all. This is sort of like the follow me feature. I can click distribute to set up the ring order. I can also set up the total ring time. One thing to know is calls from the group, when they're offered to these users, ignore the follow me setting on the user level. Extension box, you can add additional extensions to a group. Just enter the new extension number and save changes. Groups can also have their own phone numbers. Just like on users, these phone numbers do not have hours of operation. Group features. Bring back, this is essentially a hold music for while your customer is waiting for one of your staff members to pick up. Click enable, upload a .wav or MP3 file up to 1 megabyte. Main thing to know is the system will not loop the file for you, so you want to make sure that this file is at least as long as your total ring time in the group. Next action, this is what you tell the system to do if none of your staff members is able to pick up the call. So you would click to enable, and then this pull down are other things on your system, like a voicemail box, another group, a specific user, etc. Allow call forward. Whether you enable it, that means your users can make use of call forwarding, i.e. they're not at their normal desk phone. Caller ID prepend is for your VoIP phone users. This allows you to enter text or numbers in front of the caller ID that shows up on your staff members' VoIP phones. Right? The idea is to give them some sort of heads up about what the call might be about. All right. With users and groups in place, on the left-hand side, we can click on main number. Up here at the top, you have your main company numbers. You can unassign. That means you don't want them as main numbers anymore, but they're still on your account. Down here at the bottom, you can add from spare or by new. Again, show notes. You can use a support link on specifically on how to add numbers. Office hours strategy, you have 24-hour open hours or custom office hours. If you choose custom just for each day of the week, just put a check mark. Choose your open hours in 24-hour or military time. You also have the option here to be closed for lunch. Office holidays, just put a check mark here. And then on the right, you have add holidays, you have single day, date, range, or advanced. Each one of those creates a new row. Fill out the row, right? Give a name, enter the date and information, and then save changes. Incoming call handling. This is how your system is handling your main numbers, right? So I have 3 phone numbers. How am I offering or handling calls during my open hours, my after hours, or holidays? The first option, virtual receptionist, calls are coming in. I can click on the virtual receptionist link. There we go. Main menu, these are what people press on their phones to navigate through the phone system. You click on add route to give yourself more menu options. Right. The second pull down here, these are things on your system. So users, groups, devices, etc. Then you have your greeting options. Text to speech, type in a greeting, and it will play back on a computerized robotic voice. Upload your own file, .wav, .mp3 file, up to 1 megabyte. Choose from something that's already on the system. Record it over the phone. You have to use by default, the system wants you to use a VoIP phone. But basically you call in, you enter the PIN number, which is specific to this time of day, right? So this one only works during my open hours. And then you record it over the phone, right? You overwrite the existing greeting that's in place. Professional recording services, this opens up a new tab and takes you to a company called Snap Recordings, which is totally separate from us. You can order recording from them. They send it to you via email, and then you would upload your own file, excuse me. Settings, number of retries on missed dial is how many times your inbound caller can make a mistake, right? So they have 2 built-in. In this case, I have one retry, which means they have 2 total attempts. Dialing timeout, this is how much time the users or the system waits for the user to enter digits, right? I.e. they're doing a multi-digit extensions. Allow outside recording. By default, this is off as a security feature, but if you turn it on, this means you can call in from any phone and record your main greeting over that phone. So like from a cell phone or a landline. Allow dialing extensions. By default, this is on. This just means if someone enters a valid extension number, the system will transfer the call. If you turn it off, they can only press your main menu options. Suppress playing of invalid entry. This means, so when the system, if an inbound caller keeps making mistakes, eventually the system says, we did not recognize your entry. If there's a default action, it transfers the call. If there's not, it ends the call. It says goodbye. If you don't want that message to play, right? We did not recognize your entry, you would click this on. Any changes you make to your main menu, your greetings, or your settings, you need to click save here at the bottom right. And then when you come back to the incoming call handling, you want to click save changes here. All right. So during my after hours, I'm using the second option, which is the live operator answer option. This pull down lets me select something on my system. User, group, device, what have you. If they can't answer the call, then the call is sent to a virtual receptionist. And since this is my after hours, I have different menu options, different greetings, etc. But other than that, it's the same as what we were just looking at. For holidays, I'm choosing this third option. This first pull down something on your system, right? User groups, etc. I chose the special one here or the other, which is skip to voicemail. And then the second pull down is a voicemail box on the system. So like if you have someone who's, specific to handle like your holiday calls, you can select that user and that they aren't able to answer, select which voicemail box it goes to. Main conference number, you can have multiple conference room numbers here. You can also click on the custom text-to-speech greeting, click to enable, type in your greeting. Even if I leave this disabled, the system says welcome to the conference and prompts you to enter in the conference room number and PIN. Main fax box number, you can only have the one main fax box number, but once you do, you have a fax box, you can edit the fax box. Inbound notification email, designed to put in an email address. That email gets sent a message every time a fax is completed. Now, if someone calls your fax box number, here's fax tones and hangs up, this address still gets a message saying there's a failed fax attempt. Email permissions, this is to decide who can send a fax out. In the box to the right, you can either enter in an email address or, as showing here, a company domain. So everyone at VirtualPBX can send a fax out on this account, even though they're not a user on the account. To do so, they create an email, in this case from their VirtualPBX email. In the to field, they had to follow this format here. So +1 area code and number, no spaces, dashes, or parentheses, followed by the @ symbol, and then the account realm. Then they need to attach a PDF or TIFF file. Those are the only two file types that the system will send out. Anything else will kick back an error. One attachment per email, one to address per email, or even and no CCs. Auto attendance, this is an add-on feature. This allows you to create additional attendants, either because you want to do something like sub-menuing, right? One for English, two for Spanish, or you have multiple businesses. Up here at the top, you click on Add Attendant, give it a name, give it an extension number, click on Create Attendant. By default, they start off as a standalone attendant. If you want to change that, click on the name and then click on this toggle here. Once it says available in main menu, that means it's now a sub-menu option. Auto attendants can have their own phone numbers. These phone numbers will have hours of operation that are based off of your main number. You can also have multiple extension numbers. The extension numbers are something only your staff would ever make use of. It's doubtful your customers would ever know these. And then settings, the little wrench icon here, it will open up. And you see I have open hours, after hours, and holidays, which again matches what we have under the main number. The devices tab shows your devices on the account. Red devices means they're not registered, so we can't send calls to them. Green means we can. You can add devices up here. Again, we recommend adding directly to the user just to reinforce it. For the soft phone, right? I don't have that toggle down here. So again, VirtualPBX soft phone, have to add it to the user. Greetings tab shows all your media files that are on the account. You can add your own files here as well. Just give it a name, find the file, and then click Create Greeting. It doesn't assign it anywhere. It's just available for you to use later. Right, here's the name of the file. Source is upload, means you uploaded it. Right, TTS is text-to-speech, which means it was created under the virtual receptionist or an auto attendant. Recording means it was recorded over the phone. The play icon lets you listen to that message directly in your browser. Download lets you save it to your computer, which I recommend for your main greeting that you use for most of the year. Little wrench icon here. This allows you to change the name of the files to something be more easily recognizable for you, or you can delete it if you know you don't need it any longer. Right. Numbers, it starts you off on your numbers to use and basically showing you where the numbers are assigned. Spare numbers, these are the numbers you're not using. If you want to get rid of a spare number, you click on the box in front of it and then click on delete and then confirm the deletion, and it will then be removed. By numbers just lets you add more spare numbers to your account. Port number is moving a number from one carrier to another. So from, say, Comcast to VirtualPBX, please use the support link to see the full step-by-step guide for that. Voicemail boxes shows the voicemail boxes on the account. If there's something here under the user column, that means it was created with the user. But up here at the top, you can add or create your own voicemail boxes. Just give it a name, voicemail box number, and PIN number. And then click on Create Voicemail Boxes. Once a voicemail box is created, click on the rich icon so you can change this information if you need to or review it. Under Advanced is where you can upload a media file, right? So a greeting for it. You can add additional recipients if necessary. And then you have your options here as well. Text forward, this, as I mentioned, is an add-on feature. This allows you to have phone numbers accept inbound text messages and then forward them on. It is not for two-way text communication. You would just click on Add Number, and the numbers in this pull-down will be from your spare number list. And then you would choose whether to add an email address or a webhook, and then click on Create Forward. Virtual extensions is a plan-specific feature. This allows you to add additional extension numbers without creating users. You would just click on Add Extension, you give it a name, you give it an extension number, click on Create Extension. Some limitations. These virtual extensions can only have one device, and that device cannot be the VirtualPBX soft phone because we don't have an email address to send the credentials to. Additionally, because they're not users, they can't be members of a group or part of a call queue. And queues, I probably should have mentioned earlier, they're a part of the Ultra plan. Call logs, this shows your call history on the account. You have today, this week, this month, and custom. You can go back up to 1 year. So I can click here and then click filter. Each one of those tabs you can download and as a CSV file, and then you can use your spreadsheet file to get more information about the calls, which it's going to show everything here. Plus, if you click on a call, it has additional legs. So some calls will have multiple entries depending on like if you're offering it to a group or to a user with multiple devices, right? All of that would be on that spreadsheet download. Little fire extinguisher icon creates an email for you that's pre-addressed to support@virtualpbx.com. It will have the technical details of the call. You're definitely going to want to include the context about why you're sending that call in. Little green arrow to the right, that means the call that came into the system. And let's see if I can find one. Yellow arrow here to the left, that means a call leaving the system, right? Going out from one of my staff, most likely. The custom link, I don't know if I mentioned this, can let you go back up to 12 months. If you need to go further than that, you would need to contact our support team. They need to escalate that up to the engineers, but the engineers can only go back up to 18 months. Feature codes, these are ways for your VoIP phone users to access Dash features directly from their VoIP phones. In the show notes, you can use the support page to get this information. You can also do a search for the phone commands cheat sheet. All right, next up is blacklists. This is an included feature. This allows you to create a list of phone numbers that you're blocking from reaching your staff members. In the show notes, use the support link and do a search for blacklist or blocking numbers, and it will show you the step-by-step. Call recording, this will take you to your call recordings. Now, this account is set up with AWS. So this is showing my AWS, or where the calls are on AWS. If you use the standard call recording, this would open up a new tab, take you to recordings.virtualpbx.com. It uses your Dash login information, but there you would view your call recordings, play them back, download them, etc. AWS we typically recommend for high volume customers, or I believe insurance or some of the insurance have a requirement to restore the calls for 10 years. So you're better off AWS. Number Manager, this just takes you to your spare number page. User portal, every user has access to their own user portal. It defaults them to their voicemail tab. So they can see the date, the time. Here's the option to play it back. Here they can download it. Little box up here at the very front. That allows them to change the status, right? To listen, delete, etc. Over here, settings and devices. Right here, that's how your staff members enable call forwarding. Is put a check mark here and then put the +1 area code and number and then click save. So if I do that, I am now call forwarding. If I uncheck this, now I'm not. Webhooks, plain specific feature. You're probably going to want to talk to our sales team if you're interested in this. This allows you to link your Dash account to other software. In the show notes, you should see a link there for the Introduction to Zapier webinar. You can also go to developer.virtualpbx to see sample code of what we've done to link Dash to other software. SMS registration, this is what you would need to go through in order to make use of the business SMS feature or virtual text. This page is informational. It tells you what to expect. The start registration starts off with here's the base information you need. Click on the register button to start that process. And then the registration status lets you know where you are in the process. Call center, this is for people on the Ultra accounts. This lets you get to the call queues. You can look in the show notes at the ACD QUEUES Pro demo. Queues are an advanced version of groups. There's more advanced routing options. It also allows for a manager to eavesdrop in on a call or whisper to their staff or even barge in so you can take over a call if necessary. Dynamic caller ID, add-on feature. This allows you to create rules for your VoIP phone users when they make an outbound call. Basically, these rules, you can change their outbound caller ID. So like this Vegas one here at the bottom, I set it up so that whenever my staff members dial a 702 area code phone number from their VoIP phones, the system will automatically change their caller ID to the 702 number on my account that I selected. Faxes is your fax manager. This lets you see your inbound and outbound fax history. Reports, this opens up a new tab. It takes you to reports.virtualpbx.com. Has its own login information. In the show notes, you're going to want to look at the advanced reporting demo. And you can also do a search for that in the support pages. But basically, this is custom reports. It's a more advanced version of the call logs. Voicemails, this lets you as an admin get to any voicemail box on the account. And then you can manage the voicemail box, right? So if you ever get a report that a voicemail box is full, you can come here and, for instance, you can change its status, or you can even move it to a different voicemail box. Integration AWS, this is an add-on. It allows you to link your Dash account to Amazon Web Services. You would click on new account, but basically we would need the access key, secret access key, and the bucket from Amazon Web Services to link the accounts. In the show notes, use the support page there and definitely look up AWS integration so you can see what that is about. And that is everything. Page is loaded up pretty good today. I thank you for your time today. We'll be back again next Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.